Yo, this Twitch DMCA thing has gotten completely out of control. Like, to be honest, I don't even know where to start anymore. All right, so on the off chance you've been living under a rock and don't know what's happening, I'm gonna do my best to quickly break down what's been going down on Twitch recently for like the last. This has been like I would say almost a 2 month saga, but this was something that was coming for far, far longer than that, and it was just one of those like, how do I put this? I learned this from a John Maxwell quote. If you ever read leadership books, a big problem is just a small problem that nobody paid any attention to. This had been a problem on Twitch for literal years, and it was a small problem that like kind of came in waves that no one really paid any attention to, and eventually Twitch did something. I got it. Basically, Twitch has gotten big enough to the point where they pissed off enough people. They've gotten big enough to where they piss off enough people to where now it's a big problem that all of us have to deal with. But I digress. Let's get into it. So, for those of you guys who don't know what a DMCA is, basically it's a Digital Millennial Copyright Act. Basically, just means, in the most generic sense, is it basically means I own this intellectual property or intellectual property. Could be music, could be movies, could be a video game. IPs come in all sorts like shapes and forms. If you've followed YouTube and you've had any big YouTubers who have been a part of the platform for a long time, you've probably heard of this for a while. But essentially, what it means is I own this property, and if you're using this property without my permission, I can force you to take it down. That's essentially what it is. It's a super outdated law that has not been updated for internet times. It was originally made so that, say, someone could make something like Harry Potter, and I couldn't make the same exact book called Harry Potter and sell it as well and make money off of something you came up with. That was the idea for it. But how does this relate to Twitch? One of the most common forms of DMCA issues on the internet right now is music. It has been music almost since the inception of the internet, with Napster and LimeWire and people downloading music, quote unquote, illegally and not paying for music. And now it's no longer people not paying for music because people are paying for music and paying for streaming service. But now people aren't paying when they're playing music. Now, essentially, there are so many different types of copyright, but essentially you have to have a certain permission slip in order to play music. Like, in order to listen to a song, all I have to do is buy it. Buying it gives me the right to listen to the song. However, if I want to play that song for other people or for other people to hear it, I need a different type of permission slip that just buying the song or buying the CD does not give me. A lot of people didn't know that. Even DJs, to my understanding, technically had to buy a specific type of license to use music. Most DJs I know didn't do this, but to my understanding from talking to DJs, you have to get a special type of license in order to play music publicly. If you don't get that license, then you're not allowed to play music for events and things like that. But again, that's something most people don't know because most people aren't DJs. But these days, everybody's a Twitch streamer, and technically, you need some of the same type of licensing in order to play music that you don't own for your Twitch audience. Because ultimately, even though you're just listening to the music yourself, your audience is also hearing that music. And that's what basically is causing this whole DMCA claim. The problem with this is that there's literally music in everything, and everybody owns the rights to it, right? If you think of all your favorite games, from Call of Duty to Grand Theft Auto to Fortnite to Pokemon, all of them have some form of music to it, and all of them own the rights to those music. And if you're playing the game, you may have the right to play the game, but you don't technically have the rights to play the music. And because of that, what's happening now is these record companies are coming after top Twitch streamers, or honestly streamers big and small, and basically saying, hey, if you don't pay us for a cut for every time you play our songs, then we're going to force Twitch to take down your live stream. Now, the general idea of this, and don't get me wrong, this is the truth, is that these music companies and music labels are just greedy and want money. There's no way around it. People have been listening to music for the longest time, burning CDs, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, they want their music to be played, but they want to make sure that they get paid every time someone does it. And we've just kind of evolved beyond like having to have the CD in order to hear the song now. And like honestly, when it comes to DMCA, you could technically be DMCA'd for humming the song. I legally cannot hum the song or play the song for a group of people, like sing the song myself for a group of people, because I don't own the IP to that song. I have to get permission technically to be even be able to sing the song, which is really stupid, but I digress. Ultimately, basically, these record companies, sometimes, a lot of times, it's not the artist, because if you don't know this, a lot of artists don't make money off their music unless they do shows and stuff. But that's a whole nother, that's a music industry talk for another day. A lot of times it's not the artist though, it's just these record labels that are going out and trying to get as much money for their music that's out there as they can. They just realize that there's millions of dollars that technically they could take because the laws are set the way that they are, if not billions of dollars that they could take, and they're just going out and trying to grab it from wherever they can. Either you pay us or we're going to sue you or shut you down, and that's it. YouTube had to deal with this. This is why, you've heard people getting demonetized and getting DMCA strikes and all sorts of stuff. If you pay attention to like any major YouTube channel for a long period of time, that's YouTube homegrown. And it basically is just finally coming to Twitch. Anyone who was smart and knew the industry and kind of knew the internet in general knew that it would come to Twitch eventually. The only reason why it hasn't been a bigger issue on Twitch before now is that Twitch was too small for them to care. And that's crazy considering Twitch was bought for like $1 billion 5-6 years ago, right? But 4 or 5 years ago, when it was bought for $1 billion by Amazon, it was still too small for the music industry to care. Now that it's evaluated somewhere between $4 and $5 billion, now the music industry decides they want to care. All that being said, basically, the real truth of the matter that a lot of people aren't talking about is that all these new DMCAs didn't come out of nowhere, and they're not for no reason. I'm not saying the music companies were right, but Twitch has known about this problem for a very long time, and they decided to ignore it. And more importantly, when finally asked by the music industry to stop ignoring it, their decision was to address it in the most roundabout way. And essentially it was just like, hey, if you aren't going to handle this properly, then we're going to come after you. And Twitch knew this was coming. They're pretending like they didn't know it was coming, but everybody in the industry knew it was coming. There's no way they didn't. And more importantly, the music industry gave them several warning shots before finally actually coming down on Twitch. And that's essentially what's happening now. But the last warning shot that the music industry sent Twitch, and the reason why the music industry is going so hard after Twitch right now, is honestly because of Twitch soundtrack. Now, if you've been paying super close attention to like the streaming world, you're forgiven if you haven't. One of the things you may have heard is that Facebook actually purchased a deal to license a bunch of music for their streamers and creators to be able to listen to on their live stream. It would still be deleted, so the live stream would either be muted or deleted afterwards, but they could listen to certain music and favorite radio songs or whatever while live streaming and not have to worry about it. That was a big problem on Facebook, because people's streams were getting deleted or streams were getting shut down because they were playing music for the longest. And Facebook essentially just worked out a deal with the music, with the certain music companies that, hey, here's a list of music you guys can play with certain artists. And now, I wouldn't say they're good, but they're in a better place now. Their streamers can now play music and play the music that's in their games without having to worry about anything. Twitch also had the opportunity to do something like this, but for whatever reason couldn't come to terms with the music industry on what the prices would be for stuff like this, and were basically trying to backdoor a bunch of things. They were trying to backdoor the ability to play and listen to songs by saying Twitch sings, therefore that you wouldn't flag them for songs because those songs would be in Twitch sings and people are just playing a karaoke game. And they're basically trying to do a bunch of stuff to backdoor getting music to be okay, instead of just paying the music industry what they wanted. Now, I'm not saying the music industry was making a reasonable ask. They may have been asking for way more than the music was worth. In fact, I'm almost positive they probably did. But it's one of those things where it's like, where copyright law currently is, they kind of just have to play ball, or at least try to negotiate there. But essentially what happened was, when Twitch decided to release soundtrack, one of the things for soundtrack is they're not paying the creators for soundtrack royalties for those songs. and the licensing that they're using for it is essentially the same type of licensing that you would use if you were playing music in a mall or something like that. Which, to my understanding, I'll link a couple articles where you can always look more into this, but to my understanding, is not the appropriate licensing for what Twitch should have, considering how the music is being consumed. Although technically people are going for the stream and not for the music, it's still just not the right broadcast rights. Twitch knows this, but is pretending like it should still be okay. And essentially them pretending like it should still be okay is what made the music industry decided, okay, it's not okay. We're not gonna let you pretend like it's okay. And going forward, we're going after you now. And so that's why literally, quote unquote, Twitch went from getting less than 50 DMCAs a year to getting over 1,000 a day, basically, or 1,000 a week, simply because they ignored all the DMCA warnings they got before. They weren't going to the table to pay these people what they wanted. And so now they're coming after their top Twitch streamers and getting, basically, Twitch has to ban these streamers or remove, they don't have to ban them, but they do have to do something to these streamers who are getting these DMCA strikes. Otherwise, Twitch will lose its safe harbor position, and that's a whole nother thing to begin with. But now that we've gotten through all of what led up to this, now we're in a world where basically streamers are deleting all their VODs because they don't want to have DMCAs. But even after deleting all their VODs and deleting all their clips, they're still getting DMCA'd because Twitch still has it on their servers and it's publicly accessed, and the record companies have this public access and are flagging and DMCAing people. Even when they're not on their channels anymore, they're still getting DMCA strikes. But they're deleting all their VODs, they're deleting all their clips, they're deleting 7, 8, 9, 10 years of gameplay and footage and memories, which is one thing that they're deleting all these things. But the most important thing about it is, like, if you get banned from Twitch, that 9 years of gameplay footage is all you really have in terms of your reputation to try to rebuild on another platform. Like, people should be building YouTube libraries. I bet you every smart streamer is building up their YouTube libraries now. But like 100%, like that was literally what all, like, there are some creators that are literally only on Twitch, and they deleted every past memory of them being on Twitch, everything from their career that mattered up until now, like all of those memories, simply to try to abide by Twitch's crazy, like, or abide by DMCA, which it just blows my mind. Basically, that these creators have basically deleted their entire life's work as a creator simply to try to keep their Twitch account. Some of them are still getting banned after doing it, and Twitch's responses were sorry. And that's it. That's just kind of one thing. But then on top of that, streamers are literally freaking out, and they just don't want to, it's almost at a point where you can't play games anymore. Like, the big thing that just came out was the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. And there's a bunch of streamers who want to play the game, but are scared to play the game because one of the things that's different about Miles compared to Peter Parker and Spider-Man is that he listens to a lot of good music, and all of that music is copyrighted, and streamers are basically being told when they are playing it that they're getting flagged for having a DMCA notice for listening to copyrighted music while playing the game. And so they don't want to play these games anymore. So, I mean, it's a super, super shitty place to be. I don't want anyone to think, though, that, like, Twitch is innocent in this. I think that the music industry is the bad guy here, but Twitch is 1,000% at fault as well. Not only did they know this was coming, but the decisions they made is what led these industries to come after streamers themselves, because Twitch wasn't doing anything about it. This is something Twitch should have addressed years ago. Legitimately, Amazon, I don't know if you guys watched you guys probably didn't, but if you didn't watch it, when Amazon and Microsoft, or not Amazon, was it Amazon, Facebook, and Google and Apple were being, like, interviewed by the United States Congress or whatever, one of the questions the senators asked them was about, they asked Jeff Bezos, do you know anything about Twitch playing music illegally, and do you plan to address that? 100% that senator, whoever asked it, was paid off by some music lobbyist to ask that question. But Jeff Bezos, who probably knows nothing about this issue involving Twitch, was asked about this issue and if he was planning on doing anything about it. Part of me wants to believe he knows nothing about it. Part of me doesn't believe he knows nothing about it, but the point still stands. They're asking Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, if he knows about the Twitch music problem. And so there's no way, and this was like 3-4 months ago from now, there's no way Twitch didn't see this coming. Everybody knew this was happening. I'm sure somebody at Amazon said, hey, do you know that the senators are asking you guys about music? There's no way that went through Twitch and nobody knew about it or no one heard about it. This has been coming for a long ass time. Honestly, I just think Twitch needs to do better. This is a rough place to be for sure for all streamers. Hopefully something gets worked out soon. But I mean, for now, I guess it is what it is. Play some DMCA free music and I guess just mute the songs. If you can't delete the VODs because deleting the VODs doesn't get rid of it. So I mean, the only thing I say is just mute the songs. If you're playing any game that's got really good music in it, like Spider-Man or GTA, just don't listen to the music or mute the songs. It's stupid, but I mean, it is what it is, dude. The other crazy thing too is like I'm hearing some people are like getting like banned for like, I think someone got banned for like a blender saying that it was a Skrillex noise. They got a warning for it. Hold on, let me double check to see if I can find it. There we go. This guy got DMCA'd for a grandfather clock sound because the video game company used a grandfather clock sound or whatever, which is hilarious in Phasmophobia. And then this guy, I don't know if this is real or it's a meme, but this guy said he was basically doing a cooking stream and blending a smoothie with a blender, and it got flagged as a Skrillex song. Again, I don't know if that's a meme or not, or if that's real, but if that's real, dude, Twitch, dude, get your shit together, bro. I'll catch you guys next time. Deuces.